Cheers, lads.
Cheers, hostess.
With the hostess. Take your time, Steve. Cheers, mate. Smash the place there.
Anyway, what's that?
It's a Greek number called Mammoth.
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 Memories.
I don't know. It doesn't.
These were specials I bought when I was in Greece on holiday, mate. I brought them back and they've sat in the fridge. I think it's a knockoff for Amstel.
You want to see you, man.
Got into
That's the dogs come to join us.
Yeah.
So this is a knockoff Amstel. I don't know what that's supposed
That's
to
quite
be.
nice, mate, to be fair.
I can't pretend it's particularly nice. Let's have a go at it.
Yeah, 5%.
Not very good. It's average at best, I think you might say.
Why? Some might say we're average at best, to be
I
fair.
thought that was still at first.
It's a knockoff. It's clearly a Greek version of Amstel, isn't it?
A methyl.
A method.
A
Methythium. Anyway, cheers to our
guys.
viewers and listeners. Welcome back. If you've managed to get through that first fucking meagre offering that we put together, and you've come back for seconds, well, you're truly special individuals. That's for sure.
Special.
Gary, Steve, welcome to the second iteration of the podcast.
Episode,
The
isn't it?
October cast, as they're calling it.
Oktoberfest cast.
And as the viewers may have spotted, and perhaps the listeners may not have, we are resplendent in leather. What the fuck's all that about, Steve?
Is it leather or is it cowhide?
Mine's chamois, I think. Actually, yeah.
Mine's papier mâché. Especially the hat.
Buffet mache.
Papier mâché.
Let you feel the quality there.
For the listener, we're all wearing lederhosen, actually. And the reason for that is because we're off to the Hertfordshire Oktoberfest immediately post-podcast. And we're going down fully regaled.
Can't wait.
We're looking forward to it.
Took a bit of persuading some people though, didn't they?
It did. Some people
A bit of
probably,
persuading.
you and I could both picture who that is, actually.
But this has been in the cupboard for 12 months.
It has.
Wait for
This
it.
one has
Wait
it all.
for it.
You've been in the cupboard for about 20, 50 odd years.
Come out of the cupboard.
It hasn't come out,
It'll
mate.
eventually come out after 12 months.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to it, mate.
I just bought mine on Amazon this week.
We noticed.
The hat, I'm going to take it off, sorry guys. It's I'm not sure I'm going to refer with it. It feels like a cardboard number, but it's just so squeezing my head. Anyway.
I don't think you can buy an outfit off Amazon, mate, for £25 or £30 and expect too much.
Just fair. Just give it a little
It was a twirl.
swirl. Not bad, is it? Not bad. Extra large fits me quite nicely. Thank you very much.
Something about our age, mate, no matter what we wear, is extra large.
Extra large, very nice.
Well, anyway, all hail the ale, and welcome, viewers and listeners.
Yes.
Steve, I'd like you to perhaps bless the podcast, if you wouldn't mind.
I searched high and low for a proper blessing.
Research.
Really hard.
Finally, it's Joe's mode.
Because Oktoberfest started officially last weekend, wasn't it?
Well, I dare say.
So they do a traditional rolling out of the beer and, where they tap into the beer in the barrel and all that, very official. So I think we should make ours more official.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So the
agree.
official beer blessing. Okay. Lord, let me open my beer.
Lord.
It sounds very good. Lord, bless this creature, beer, which your kindness and power has been produced from kernels of grain, and let it be healthful drink for mankind. Grant that whoever drinks it with thanksgiving to your holy name may find it a help in body and soul. Through Christ our Lord.
Amen.
Amen.
Hail the-
Amen.
Hail the
Hail.
I thought you were going to say something like, Lord, thank you for turning the water into wine and bless these fools who
There's one
accept the reverse.
you mentioned healthful. Healthful.
Healthful.
It's
It's a great word and good to know that this is
It's
helpful.
got its redeeming
Full of
features,
health.
hasn't
We
it?
like it.
Well, the viewers and listeners will be pleased to know that those who have followed the podcast from the early days, and indeed last week, will know that we moved to a quiz. And there's a beer theme. Obviously, we have a recurring rugby league theme on our podcast. But there'll be some really interesting questions. So hopefully the viewers and the viewer and listener will have been boning up and they could play along with us.
Boning. Doing some boning.
And look straight at you, Mick O'Shea. Be lots of boning at your end, I'm sure. Thank you very much.
Wow.
If anyone's got any questions or any feedback, we'd love to hear you from.
Where are you from?
Or hear from you.
I can hear these on my phone.
So I was driving to pick you up though. I'd like to think I was sober, but
Well, maybe not.
please do feedback at underthebarchat@gmail.com. Love to hear your feedback. In fact, I think we had a little bit.
Yeah, we did.
Any good?
By way of segue, Gary, could you?
I like that.
Well,
Well,
good, bad, or indifferent?
Well,
mixed bag, I'd say.
Oh, well,
But you'll figure it out for yourself. So, firstly, a big shout out for Stuart Wallace. Stuart Wallace picked up on your query about the football player with the pineapple on his head.
Football or soccer?
There he is. His name
Is he a soccer ball player?
is Jason
Soccer ball.
Lee. Jason
I
Lee.
knew it was Jason something.
Jason Lee. So Stuart Wallace.
Did he play at Watford?
No, I did a little bit of
Forest.
research. He's playing, maybe Forest, Nottingham
Oh,
Forest.
yeah.
Played mainly in the 90s.
Okay, yeah.
He's still got a grouse with Badil and Skinner, evidently, about them mocking him, his hair and his footballing ability. But
Funnily enough.
anyway, so Stu, well done, mate. And also, Stuart has volunteered, or offered rather, to come on the show. And, well, he may well also. And discuss association football or soccer with us if we feel like we need a guest slot.
Stuart, I love you. It's never going to fucking happen.
Well, that's just crazy. Anyway, on to the feedback. So this is the feedback that some of the punters have come up with this week. So this one was anonymous, okay? I'm not sure. Obviously,
we're all anonymous.
So under the bar, can you explain why Ken felt it necessary to spend the whole cast with his legs akimbo, offering his groin to the camera? Well, I just didn't.
It's
see
funny,
that.
I've got some feedback exactly on that as well. actually.
I watched it back and I did think that you sort of would sort of,
I've
I don't
got to
know,
say-
a bit sort of
I
pro.
don't think it'll change because you cannot cross your legs in these.
No,
Anything, it's squeezing the
Rubbing
old,
the chamois, mate.
the chap has been exposed.
In my defence, I'm a larger boned gentleman, and I don't think we want to have, as much as we enjoy a bit of profanity and a bit of homophobia and
No, we don't. No, we
well,
don't.
you know, all the other sorts of phobias and isms. We quite like a bit of that, a bit of banter. But I don't think we're going to go down the road of body shaming.
No, but I mean,
I'd be very upset.
but it's a good call. I mean, you know, I looking it back, I found it quite offensive.
Well,
And
well,
the beer
actually-
was going to have to sit with you. And
You don't actually notice it at the time, to be fair.
No, well, the
that's
thing-
a natural position.
The feedback I had was the bloke in the North jersey, did he have a massive penis folded over his left thigh, or was it a wallet? And that was from Ivor Biggin. And
Ivor!
and he used to write to us quite a lot on our old podcast.
yeah.
And Ivor is actually a massive penis. So
No. You are a massive.
You are a massive
You are a massive.
I was
penis.
waiting for that one.
Right, so the second one then. So
Yes.
Rupert from Harpenden.
Root
Yeah.
the root
So he
meister.
basically said,
Like Hugo,
chaps, I tuned in to hear tales of Johnny, post-match revelry, shoe pie and pims. I felt rather disappointed. Well, I'm not sure what he was fucking expecting from a rugby league podcast, but I mean, I'm assuming he's meaning Johnny Wilkins. I don't know, or maybe
One would expect.
I don't really know.
What was the shoe pie reference about?
It's a good, like, give a bit of shoe
He's in shoe pie. At the bottom of the rock.
Oh,
Yeah.
He's in the shoe pie.
And equally, I don't know what his post-match revelry is. That this thing about rugby boys like?
Bumming, presumably.
I'm entirely sure that's what they're doing. But anyway,
To be fair, Ken Edwards has got a history of putting.
Hang on, where are we going here?
Ken Edwards was banned for 10 games.
Yes, well that is true. I apologise to my listeners.
Do we need to go down that line?
Kenny Edwards' namesake
was
there
banned for 10 games.
our Aussie brother.
It was a dark.
Moving on, we could go on.
Actually, I have one last bit of feedback.
I'm not full of feedback, but
I got a friend, a long-time friend of the podcast, Scott Drew.
Drewy.
Drew simply says, "Hey guys, get fucked." So that's nice.
Drewy is a simple soul. He's a very simple soul.
Yeah, a few words.
God bless you, man. God bless you.
I like that.
Yeah,
That's good feedback.
So another feedback, JW, don't know who JW is, he says, Steve's, maybe, well, yeah, maybe, it's Rubens, mate.
Wilkinson.
Steve caught a very sad figure in the cast last week, no friends, not going out. He may like to join us on Sunday mornings as we share the word around St Albans, so I don't know who JW is. But,
Sunday morning.
yeah, I mean, going around, I don't know, share the words. I don't know, look, I don't know who JW is, but...
Going cottaging or something? I don't know.
Well, I mean...
I don't really know.
No, anyway, I don't know, but anyway,
Them days are gone.
you did look a bit.
They usually stand outside.
Last week was forlorn, I think.
But Lord, he's mojo's
I
back.
remember your mojo back, mate. They stand outside the Lloyd's and hand out leaflets, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, or the train station.
Indeed.
Anyway, moving on. Another anon. Can Gary explain why he spent most of the cast fiddling with his toes and at one point walked out? Well,
You would like to know that as well, Gary. Could you,
We know why he walked out.
I walked out. Yeah, I
Did you?
just felt nervous. I just felt nervous.
overcoming emotion about
I was just overcoming emotion.
I see.
But I won't be fiddling my toes today, so
Not your toes are
you'll be
really
okay.
Please, yeah.
And then the last one was so this is a really big shout out for Mrs. Lindsay Ward. Yes, so she's a big fan of the show. And she's given us lots of feedback. Too much for us to just at this moment in time. She is another rugby league evangelist in the south, and she also doubles up as the Rugby Football League ticket tout. So if you need tickets for any event, Lindsay's your woman.
Lindsay's the one.
She's also, and this does not define her, married to a London and Leeds legend,
The great Danny.
Danny Ward, who many a follically challenged song has been created about.
Danny Ward.
And
It's
incidentally,
we don't care.
I sponsored Danny back in the
did?
Harlequins days,
Oh, you did,
and
yeah.
this is his pick. I didn't know he could write, to be fair, but this is impressive. He's managed to put a few
Well,
words together there. Good old Danny boy. Nice one,
He's
mate.
got a toupee on.
Not
I have this sits on my bedside table, as a sort of a memory of those halcyon days.
I think Danny was
Down
really
to-
pleased about the feedback up to that point where you said you have that next to you when you sleep at night. That's a worry.
Well, I have my wife next to me as well, obviously, but I mean that's
His
just
likeness.
yeah.
I think that concludes our feedback.
Well,
mate.
good feedback. No, mixed
Good
feedback.
feedback.
Yeah, we like to. I can't fiddle my toes to that. That's a bit disturbing.
No, that's great. Well, I think we can move on swiftly, I think, to, or perhaps not so swiftly, but to the week that was.
Oh.
And thank you to those who've fed back. That's great. Keep it coming. underthebarchat@gmail.com or via Twitter, the usual social media channel.
Absolutely.
Steve, what was your week that was
Good
like with your
last week.
mojo back?
Hey, he's done something.
Good last weekend. Oh, we won't talk about the week. Week's pretty fucking shite, as it always is with work, isn't it? But weekend was great. Went up to the grand final.
Oh,
Nice.
Obviously, always a good drink up.
Yes,
Yeah,
it
we
is,
went with
yes.
the usual suspects out of Saddleworth. And my brother, his friends, and there's like, I think it was 25 of us on a minibus. Always a good trip. So
Yeah.
we get in there reasonably early, and I give it a nudge, as I say.
Yeah, nudge.
So that was good. But, you know, the game,
Back to reality.
sort of, I suppose, it was a foregone conclusion.
Expected.
To be honest,
Yeah.
the game. And it started off, the first 5 minutes, the rest of the game, it was over, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You know, what's it called? Lomax.
Johnny Wilkinson.
Johnny Wilkinson was in
You know,
play.
Johnny
It's
Wilkinson.
everywhere today, isn't it?
Johnny.
You know, Lomax put Matty Lee through for the first try. That was
Right.
end of story. That's all she wrote. But and it was strange. You think, and I was talking to a few people about this, and that was we were talking about Leeds and like, oh, will they be disappointed? I said, well, in some respects, if you look at where they were in June, sacking managers, bottom of the league.
Yeah.
They've actually
Yeah,
got to the
true.
final of the St. Grand Final, to be fair. They got to the
Yeah.
final, of the, you know. So that is,
Decent,
could you
decent.
measure that as success? For them, I would say yes.
Yeah.
Is that not also indicative of how shallow the talent pool is in Super League?
I don't know, because Leeds had,
That they could do that, I
they
mean?
had Caesar missing, didn't they? Who's probably their main player.
Yeah. You had a few missing,
Yeah,
didn't you?
again,
One or two,
big
but
player.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean, it was all in all. When you talk about the way that was it was a great weekend.
Good.
Guys,
All right.
that's
I'm pleased. You gave the beer
Hey,
nudge.
This was better than last time, wasn't it, punters? Goodness gracious me.
Gary,
It impressed me last time.
Things are
Well,
getting
what was
better.
your week that was?
Technically, it's been 4 weeks, I think.
It has been.
4
Well,
weeks.
we just allow some
So what have I done?
artistic license.
4 weeks. So, oh no, I won't tell you about 4 weeks. I did see. I went to pub in the park. I think I told you before. the last
You was
one.
going, weren't you?
And that was
Weekend.
good. That was good. And
Good weather?
it stayed dry. Kaiser Chiefs were superb. Really enjoyed them.
Kaiser
I
Chiefs.
promised myself I wasn't going to spend a lot of money,
And you
But-
did.
but I did.
What did you end up with merchandise wise? What did you buy?
I came back with a
Pots and
load
pans
of stuff.
and
Oh, now
Netflix.
this time rum of all things.
I bought
Rum.
I bought some rum last time, and it was gorgeous.
This was lovely.
Yeah.
Pineapple
Really
rum,
good.
pineapple and a spicy rum, and I bought lots of crazy bastard sauces. I can definitely sort of promote them.
Spicy
Crazy
ones?
Oh yeah,
I do like
very
those
nice,
spices,
very
yeah.
nice spicy sauces.
Very nice.
Yeah, it was a good event, and had a few
Nice.
nudge, as Steve would
Nudge.
say. Took the Finders up to Nottingham for his start of his next 3 years. So that was
University,
good. So
career.
that's all very positive stuff, and And Livia's doing well. She was back for the weekend that weekend when we took Finn up, went to Prime.
Another thing about
Went to
Nottingham,
Prime.
another thing about Nottingham, she said in there about Nottingham, that there was the ratio of men to women was like 8-1. Bit of a myth, but the
Who's
myth
told
came
you that?
around.
No, it was the other way around.
with
Well, men 1 to
one
women
woman
8.
to 8 women, one man to 8 women. That was the myth. And the reason it came about was, as I found out, 'cause I've got some friends in Nottingham, because there was a big lace industry in Nottingham.
Oh, that was
So you got the lace market. If you go into the
Oh.
centre of Nottingham, you've got the lace market, full of bars.
He's Addie Valley this week. This is incredible.
So lots of women worked in the lace industry.
Wow.
That's how it came about. So it's a bit of a myth.
I thought it's because Boots have their headquarters there.
They do.
What's Boots got to do with it?
Mainly women work at
Sort of
Boots.
Speedo.
Cosmetics and such.
But they're headquarters.
Apparently.
You've also got Speedo and you've got rally bikes as well. So
Yeah, wow.
Well, who knows? So, yeah,
I'm not sure where that's going.
yeah, so Nottingham's a good night out.
I'm looking forward to it. In fact, we're discussing on the way over. Our 2 sons are out in Nottingham.
It is.
There's a good reason for us to all collectively, 3 of us, go up and.
Perhaps the next podcast. Can we shot in Shottingham?
They do a good beer festival. Good beer festival in Nottingham.
I'll bear that in mind.
Can we wear our Legos? Because I was thinking to get a ring on.
I've been to it 3 times. It's been good.
Well, I'm talking about Lederhosen before I move on to the week that was for me. Normally the deal was, viewer and listener, that we were supposed to wear our rugby league jerseys.
No, jerseys.
Yes.
Jerseys.
You don't have jerseys in soccer ball.
This is a jersey. What is
That's a
it?
soccer ball shirt. Unbelievable. Steve can be bothered. At least I made the effort. And Gary, I don't know what.
Well,
that
that's
was.
not-
It's
I said I was
a
rushed.
Snowburn City
I was
FC
rushed.
jersey. It's my winter pursuit. Association football.
Well, this is a Illawarra jersey. Last week was a North Sydney jersey, and I shall regale the viewer and the listener with my wardrobe over the coming podcast.
I can't wait.
Well, that could be your photo. You could change your shirt every week.
As often as my underpants.
Yeah.
Oh.
Once a month,
As long as it sticks, you change.
whether they need them or not.
Yeah.
Well, my week that was, I wanted to share. People know that I'm perhaps waiting on an operation on my eye. I need the iris replaced. That's all very scary, so still wait to stop them getting it.
It's winking at you.
But the exciting development from my point of view, and there's work and all that sort of nonsense, which is pretty boring. But I've booked, as I alluded to in my last cast, booked the tickets for Black Deer Festival June next year. Got a super early bird deal.
You have.
I have.
Good. Have you booked for you?
I'm working on it.
Steve's working on
And
it.
I have no interest. So
He needs family permission. You should come along, mate. It's good crack.
I don't want to come along,
It's
mate.
really good
You
crack.
drag me along to this bloody nonsense.
Well, the second part of my week that was my influence your decision to come or not, because I've taken a plunge and I've gone and hired a camper van. So no tent sort of accommodation for me,
So
mate.
this is just you.
At the moment, yeah.
So you've hired yourself a camper van.
I have.
For yourself to
Very-
drive by yourself
It is the way to do it.
to some weirdo festival.
You know me by now, Gary. I don't give a fuck about things like convention. And,
You know what though?
Well, you like country
In
music.
James' defence, when you go to a music festival, they
Hi,
are good.
gorgeous.
They are good.
My wife's about to join us. You want to pop your head and say hello to the podcast?
Hello. Guten Tag.
Hi.
We should say
Hi.
Guten Tag, shouldn't
Are
we?
you
Really?
dressed in your Fraulein outfit as you have to be on the podcast?
You're sitting there.
Our viewer and listener, my wife is vomiting at the look of our attire.
It's ridiculous. We know it's
You know what,
ridiculous.
that's actually quite
We're being recorded
ridiculous.
live. Is there anything else you'd like to contribute?
Well, no, apart from you look ridiculous.
Thank you, thank
And
you.
I was just going to come to put the hot water on.
How the fuck can we soar like an eagle when we've got this sort of interruption?
We're going to have to get this edited out, aren't we?
Unbelievable. I think, excuse me, viewer and listener, I've got
Put the
to,
hot water on.
I've got to engage
So
in
last week, I got up from my seat to
got
do
up.
an activity,
Yeah.
and I was maligned. I was maligned.
Yeah.
But yet Ken can do it
Well,
without any.
to be fair, you did get up for a piss and a Sherman tank. I've got up to put the boiler on.
Sherman tank. What are they talking about?
Wank. Move it that way a little bit more, mate. I'm trying to
No, mate. Is this what you're sitting here every night?
Not sitting.
Talk about with your Xbox and you.
The old,
It's a weird shirt.
It could be a Ken. This. I do
It's
like
not bad
it.
drop at all, mate. It's Brewdog.
You got some
Brewdog's
more.
a
You
good
got some
drop.
more.
I do actually, yeah.
Anyway, have you completed your week that was?
My week that was has kind of concluded at that point.
It was very good, though, mate. Very
Well, as I
good.
said, in Ken's defence, music festivals, no matter what the sort of genre of music, it's good fun.
Well, last year, mate, we had Van Morrison, we had James, we had
sit down.
Jake Bugg.
Thunderbolts.
Indeed. So, and a whole range. They brought some guys over from Arkansas. like folk singers, and they were
Pig's
like,
Knuckle, Arkansas.
no, I'm trying to think of the name. I'm trying to think of the name of the bloke.
Kings of Leon.
No, it definitely wasn't the Kings of Leon.
Hayseed Dixie.
I will talk about it in future editions of the podcast.
Jeez, that half of them switched it off.
I think we should move on without further aplomb, without further ado, and we should move on to our first tackle. Tackle 1. I believe, Gary, this is you. The tide has turned.
So the tide has turned. So
Would you like to expand?
I
please?
would. So the tide has turned for international rugby league.
Has it now?
I believe so. So now we have a legitimate superpowers developing in the Pacific Ocean,
Correct.
and NRL players are now making
Lining up
a
to play,
choice
yeah.
of Tonga or Samoa or Fiji or
Or New Zealand.
yeah, making that choice, and I think that's a massively positive thing. And I would argue actually they now should be classed as tier 1 nations, because you could, look, there's 8 players in the grand final this weekend who are, I think, in Samoa's team, or certainly in the Pacific teams in the World Cup.
It's got to be great for the international game, though, right?
Oh, really? No, I mean, absolutely.
So where's the Northern Hemisphere equivalent? Where will that happen? If it's not happening now, which I don't think it is, but where will that happen, and how long would it take?
Well, you've got to think that really, England would be the superpower in the UK, shall we say, and the equivalents to Fiji and Tonga would be Wales and Scotland and
So would you
Ireland.
say the equivalent though would be like the Isle of Man? In that comparison.
Well, I think France and Serbia would be
You
the
look
ones
at
that come.
Samoa and the population, compare it to then Australia and UK.
Yeah.
It's got to be the Isle of Wight or Isle of Man sort of scenario.
Yeah, it just about.
It's not a big place, is it, Samoa?
But I think it's more. But I think it's more about the hereditary side of things. I mean, there's going to be.
Yes.
It's the choice that players now make about. They may have been born in Australia, but through the rules, international rules,
Parental
they
law,
can play for the countries rather. And it's not unusual for rugby league. I mean, rugby union, cricket.
No,
I've all got a history of players
mixing and matching.
Exactly right. And and actually, especially say in rugby union, let's say, again, cricket, both very good examples.
Peterson?
But I'm thinking more of start-up nations
Oh, I see.
that have lent heavily on qualification of overseas players.
Look at Malta.
Malta, in league,
Ireland.
but but I was thinking maybe of say Holland, or say countries that are sort of small. So in rugby union, say Japan, or say Italy.
Yes.
Craig Gower went to play for Italy for a prolonged period of time, and so there's
Jamaica will be the same.
No, it will be.
Japanese
Why not
rugby union,
limited rule?
And therein is the point, mate.
All these countries.
But I think that's a bit. I think Lebanon's a bit spurious myself.
A lot of rugby league supporters, and we all have a slightly negative, maybe realistic opinion about traditional rugby league supporters, typically have had a downer on that kind of qualification route. But I think they're wrong, because I think it allows the likes of Jamaica, Lebanon, maybe Japan to a lesser degree, and you see these other countries,
Ireland,
Thailand, Philippines, Ireland, and they're all, I would argue, the better for it. Are they going to challenge Australia or England anytime soon? No.
You reverse that argument round, and how many of the islanders of Australia play for them? Australia.
quite a lot.
New Zealand. Look for New Zealand.
I mean, historically, that's the only route they've gone
Everybody
through.
takes the Islanders on because of that route.
And that's the point. Now they've got an option, and the likes of Jason Tamalolo and others who actively made the decision of probably earning less money but playing for the heritage, if you like. I think it's great.
Yeah.
And there's been many. And again, you go back to cricket. You just think like in England, there are many players come from overseas to play, even captain England's cricket, like say Greg and Alan Lamb, Greg Lamb, Hussein. Hussein. I didn't tell you about Hussein. I've just come to mind. Hussein. Nasser. Do you know? I had the misfortune when I was at. I went to university incredibly, but I had the misfortune of going at the same time as Will Carling, who was as big a cock as you would have thought he was in a rah-rah sense, but also Nasser Hussain. who at the time, I don't quite know, he might be on the England under-18s path, I'm not sure. But we played a collegiate football game, so soccer ball,
Oh,
a
I
lazy
see.
ball game against his college.
I see.
And
Useful.
we were getting pumped. We were getting pumped 12-0, and he was lording it around the pitch. And he made some smart-ass comment to somebody.
See, smack him in the face.
I didn't. Somebody smacked him in the face. He went down. That was it. That was it.
You sack of shit.
I went down like a
Take that, NASA, you
shit.
wanker.
Did he cry like a girl?
He did, mate. He did. He cowered. He cowered on the floor.
Cringed.
I don't remember that level of detail, but I think the game got called off at that point.
We think that's made. We know we've made for purposes of clarification regarding slander. That's made up.
It's not made up.
Okay.
That is bona
I gave him an
fide.
out and he didn't take it.
That is bona fide true. Both parties, Will Carling and Nasser
Did
Hussein.
he cry like a girl as well?
He just generally spent his time in bars doing things with pints of beer that the normal person wouldn't do. Yeah.
Don't want to know.
No, don't need to know. So
I
let's
think,
go.
I think the tide has, if it hasn't turned, it's in the process of turning.
I think so.
And
I think so.
I'd like to see more from the Northern Hemisphere actually, but Papua New Guinea's always been there.
Yeah.
It's a sleeping giant. But you're quite right. I think Tonga, Fiji, Samoa, it would be wonderful for the game to see them. I mean, Tonga and Samoa are both ranked above. No, certainly Samoa's ranked above Australia, as is England and New
I think
Zealand.
Tonga is. I think
In the
Tonga is.
It was the game
Yeah.
that they beat Australia, wasn't it? Last game was it? Last international they played together. Did it turn into Tonga win?
I think.
Or is it sort of one of the
Australia haven't, because Australia chickened out of the World Cup last year.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
They haven't played an international game for 2 years.
They're not playing in that game.
No, they played a PNG.
Yeah, since the last.
Didn't they
Yeah, 2 years.
play President's 13 last week, was it or something?
Yeah, they played the Papua New Guinea played.
It's not a brilliant international
No.
fixture as such, but I take the point.
Go
It was made, or played as an overseas team.
Go on. Then.
Why don't we move on, Steve? So that's tackle one.
on. No,
First.
Why don't we move on to our second tackle, Steve? That lies with you, Women's Rugby League.
It's this on the same line. There's a bit of big, I think, a resurgence in women's rugby league in UK in particular. I think whether that's
Resurgence is the surgeons because
I think it's a surgeon.
Has
It's
it-
not-
because
Can be
it's been
agreed
around
resurgence.
for a long time.
Well, women.
Women's rugby league.
Women have been around for a long time, nearly as long as men.
Jest. It's for a women's rugby league.
I heard they brought
been
women
around
in a
for
couple
long
of
time.
years ago in the Industrial Revolution.
Yeah,
Could be
we've
wrong
no
with that.
friends doing that. Yeah. So there's always been women's rugby league game around since I can remember.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there has. And I think some of it was a bit of a joke. You know, you get some rugby league supporters who sort of turn up and have a game. Women particularly.
Yeah.
And
Well,
it
it
wasn't the
was a women's
best-
game. It was.
wasn't the best quality. And it was probably a bit of a joke back then. But now, I was just looking at the structure of the leagues they've got. They've got women's in the UK particularly, Women's Super League Group 1, Group 2.
Yeah.
Then you've got Women's Rugby League Division Group 1 and Group 2 as well below that. You've got Women's Super League South.
South. Yeah.
Yep.
It's phenomenal.
Who plays in that actually? There's Bedford, is
Bedford,
there
London,
Army?
Cardiff, Oxford,
No, mate. Yeah.
Bristol. I looked earlier and obviously Cardiff. Yeah.
7 teams this year, weren't there? 7
Army,
teams.
yeah. And you know what a phenomenal growth. It's been like the equivalent of when university rugby started coming.
Yeah.
That's just grown exponentially, and women's rugby league is growing exponentially.
I think women.
All power to it, brilliant.
I think women, bizarrely, and I've seen this in some women's rugby league, a little bit of rugby union where I've seen it, but mainly rugby league. I think women are, we're generalising, at an amateur level, are easier to coach because they listen.
Yes.
And they don't bring baggage like, I know, I've done this before, I know what I'm doing. They want to learn, they want to listen. That's my gut feel as an ex-referee when I've refereed games. So they do want to learn, they do want to get better, and they are coachable. But I think they're better organised as well. So we've all played at clubs where someone's tasked with getting subs.
So you're
match fees
saying
in.
a lot of women sort of clean up after themselves, and bring sandwiches. And
I don't totally sort of.
I think
buy
misogyny.
into them views.
I think misogyny is my role. So you leave that to me. Thank you very much. But I think with women's sport,
Yeah, that's what
they're
you
better
were alluding to,
organised.
though, wasn't it?
That they will organise sponsorship drives. They will organise match fees and all that payment stuff.
Yeah.
They will sort out team availability so much better than amateur men at a similar level who need to have their
I
hands
suppose the
held.
focus
and
of was
coached
not being
more
organised,
strongly.
not so much that element of it, the admin side, it was the sheer growth and I suppose professionalism. Of
But
what
why
they do
is that?
now.
Is that because
don't know.
Because it's just an opening.
Yeah,
I think
they're
Steve's right.
organised.
It's not just about it's about the opportunity now, isn't it? And there's a structure, there's a
The
pathway in
same
place.
goes for soccer ball. Women's soccer balls growing
Yeah.
exponentially.
Yeah.
Women's sport in
It is a
general,
women's sport anyway.
It's getting
soccer.
more. It's getting more airtime on television.
Team sport. Women's. Sorry, I
It's a
said
women's game, but men play it. Soccer. I think that's true.
Or
isn't it?
netball can be an equivalent. What soccer's a women's game?
Soccer is a woman. It's a girls' game, isn't it? Yeah, and men just happen to play it.
Ah.
So I think there's that.
I tried this year because I was
Women's rugby?
ignore this joke. Yeah, I did.
You tried to play women's rugby.
No, I didn't go and dress on whatever. No, I felt given
Not
that
again.
my coaching input to juniors was sort of petering out a little bit. There'd be a great opportunity to just set aside in St Albans. Yeah, just on the back of it and play just the odd few games. And the biggest local rugby union club was Oaze, a women's rugby union club, and then there was Welling who got a big setup, and I tried to get into there. Now, as it turns out, Bedford pull a lot of their women from Oaze out of St Albans. So I was sort of on a hiding to nothing, and in the end, it just became.
Petered out.
It didn't start to peter out, but it just wasn't going to take fire, if you like. Yeah, exactly. So it was a bit of a shame because I was really, like Steve was saying, I was quite enthused about this new, something that was really quite new and fresh and
it's whether you feel the urge to do that, set up the club in St Albans or not. That it's around now, isn't it?
Yeah.
The Southern League's great. You've got teams as far as Cardiff. The Army team will always be strong because they're to draw from. And they're all fit ladies. They're bound to be fit ladies. Physically fit ladies.
Yeah.
And then you've got a pool from London who have got
coached by our good friend Mr. Colin Baker.
Shout out to Cole.
Colin
Mate,
Baker.
So crack on there.
I'm the biggest misogynist on the planet, but I really like the fact that some people who have never had access to the game of rugby league before now have access to
Well,
it.
I was just saying, you'd always, even when we played, when we was young at junior level, girls would play, and there were some really good girls playing, even when I was back in the day, but they had to stop at when they got to
primary,
that was it. That was the draw line. Then they had the opportunity to
we
do
develop
that,
differently,
to
don't
carry
we?
on.
But both genders develop differently, and I can understand why that's in place.
Yeah.
But I think anyone who pulls on a pair of boots and plays a game of rugby league is good enough for me. Because it is a difficult game to play, and there's no hiding place out there. And if you're prepared to have a go, then I think everyone should be behind you and give you a fair crack.
Amen to that. Amen.
Well done, ladies.
Finally
For those who are out there.
sensible.
Yeah, good.
Right, what's your tackle? By the way, where's your wife? You going
I've
to
got a test on
give
it.
her a shout, please? Are your glasses Nike?
Following on, yeah, they are. Thank you very much.
Nike glasses.
I have worn these for fucking 4 years now. Have you just noticed that?
Fucking do it. Just do it.
Having just followed on from a really positive piece of that women's rugby league and how we're all for equal rights, you just say shouting out to my wife to bring in some drinks.
Yeah.
Brewdog IPA is really nice.
I thought that's how it worked in this house.
Is it sponsored? Are we sponsored by Brewdog?
No, this
Back, we need beer.
Beck, bring us a beer. I did want to give a shout out to our sponsor who comes back to us.
Can we have
Can we have a beer, please? Honey Bunch, Love of My Life.
King,
Out of my life and
Beer.
Steve's life. Yeah.
Can of beer from the fridge, my love. Whatever's there.
whatever's
Anything.
Whatever's there, because
Anything.
our punters, our listener, and our viewer want to share it with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're shared again by a sponsor who used to sponsor us occasionally in our old cast. And Dickens Cider has come back to us.
Oh, Dickens.
Dickens. So we all have a Dickens Cider.
Brilliant.
I love a can of Dickens Cider. What about you?
I've never had a Dickens cider.
No? Steve, you never had a Dickens Cider?
I like cider, yes.
Yeah, already.
Yeah,
Okay.
well,
Excellent. Oh, well, we look forward to many future episodes with Dickens involved.
Well, thank you to our sponsorship team at Dickens Cider. I think it's safe to say that we all have a Dickens Cider.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
So we go to tackle number 3.
Tackle number
It's very
3.
Paul Organ-esque, isn't it?
There's someone out there searching for Dickens Cider. Where can I buy this Dickens
Who's
Cider?
Paul Organ? Who's Paul
If you're looking for a list of reputable vendors who sell Dickens Cider, email us to underthebarchat@gmail.com.
Or just put it in Google.
And we'll let you know.
Or just Google it.
We can have a drinks break here. Here's the lovely Rebecca. I'm taking
Oh,
the
look at this. I love these, Rebecca.
Oh, Gary likes the vedette.
Oh,
Do you like the
I
you like the
love it.
Gum
Thank you so much.
Dry Gate's nice.
Spunk.
I've been to the brewery. It's in Glasgow, Dry Gate.
Oh, I see.
Vedette, we like Vedette.
Stubby coolers?
Cheers, my love. We got the beer. We're going sand stubby cooler.
Sands.
So the viewer and the listener can see what the can shape is.
Try and get breweries in Glasgow.
Cheers,
Vedette,
Food.
Vedette.
Let's
Alright, let's get on to tackle 3.
let's crack one open for
We
you.
only want to be doing an hour, boys. We don't want to
This
have
is
a
awful.
This is the churro special.
We've got Oktoberfest to be doing.
We hail the ale indeed.
Go on.
I want to move on to my third tackle, and that is, this can be a really short, sharp, probably a scoop, mate, out of the 20 if you like.
Scoot, yeah.
Where's the weirdest place you've seen or played rugby league?
Just one place.
Oh, you can give me a range, give me 2 or 3 places if you like. It could be a place where you've played, where you've viewed it, or perhaps where you've seen someone wear a rugby league jersey. And I can kick off and say, well, just, you know,
You've seen a rugby league jersey?
where have you seen someone wearing a rugby league jersey, which is quite weird? Perhaps a romantic weekend away to the Eiffel Tower, and you saw someone wearing a Batley Bulldogs jersey, perhaps.
Speaking of Batley Bulldogs, Steve.
Oh yeah, we talking on the way in, weren't we? Yeah, big shout to Batley
Bulldogs.
Final
Batley
in
Bulldogs.
the playoff, £1 million game against Lee.
Yeah.
We're obviously out and out favourites, but
Good luck, Bulldogs.
What a
Well,
season.
and also Keithley Cougars, well done, boys. Hendo,
100%
you're the man.
record.
Good luck, boys.
100% record. One, going for 12, or and W is 12 and 0, and losses is 0.
I'm fucked by now.
Fucking quit.
Is he talking about this? Is Morse code? 0.W.
It's binary.
It's
code.
fucking algebra or something.
Binary.
Gibberish. He's not even got to the Oktoberfest. He's
0,
talking
0,
gibberish.
0, 0, 1.
It's non-binary. It's fucking gender studies is next week, mate.
Alright, so-
Alright, so the weirdest place you've seen or played rugby league, or perhaps you could expand it if you've
Alright.
not played in weird places.
I'll-
Where have you seen rugby league jersey, which is quite weird?
Huddersfield Underbank.
It's not that weird, Gary. It's a hotbed of rugby league, mate. You have to do better than that.
Oh, so you mean? No. I thought you meant strange places.
Weird and wonderful.
In the strangest sense that you've got a cow field and cows looking over this wall at the pitch.
Well, there's
Apologies to anyone who lives in Huddersfield. It doesn't mean
To be
it's
fair,
completely
though, Gary,
strange.
there's a few places like that. You've normally got Underbank, but you've got a team called Greatland, who isn't too far from there.
Right.
And that is a
Tell you what,
brewery
George,
which is-
shall I start off with my offering? You might see
Yeah,
what
it's obviously.
what I've got in mind. So I've played rugby league in Fiji, I've played it in France, I've played it in Ireland, obviously in England, and I've played it in Russia. So I played
Did you
it-
stow away in a coach? You had to be stowed away in a coach. Didn't they let you in the country? Was some passport-related matter or visa-related matter? We're going back a few years, mind.
I don't know what he's talking about. In case any law enforcement agencies are watching.
I thought you had to hide it
Still
from
on
the
the,
coach.
you still on the KGB wanted list?
Oh, where do I go from here?
Hopefully jail. Hopefully jail.
There may or may not be some truth to that, but I think that's a different podcast.
Right. So
I
basically.
played in Kazan in Tarasil.
So basically, you were just setting this up to tell everybody where you played rugby league.
No.
And Steve, because we've only played it over here.
No, it's
I'm surprised you don't mention Estonia. Which, to be fair, I did play with you in Estonia.
you did, and that's the place where I thought you might play up.
Well, I didn't know the question. I thought fucking I'd come up with a good answer in Underhill, but obviously I misconstrued my question.
Well, the weirdest place I actually refereed a game, Germany versus Serbia, in Heidelberg in Germany. A home place, a very fine lager.
They were Lederhosen when they were playing.
They didn't, as they panned out, but I don't think anyone did after the game.
Well,
But that was my weird, wonderful
Shoulder
place. But I was thinking you might be looking at something like, I think I saw somebody wearing a Castleford jersey in the Tesco's at Watford once.
All right.
Which is quite an unusual place to see a rugby league jersey, I would argue.
Well, I would say the same as I remember I was walking up Victoria, it just sprung to mind. I was walking up Victoria Street to Albans, and I think I was wearing an Australian jersey. I can't remember what it was, whether it was in Brisbane or whatever, Penrith. And someone shouted out to me, "Go to Bunnies!" And I turned around and he had a red and green hoop shirt on.
Oh, I see.
And I just ignored him. I was being really rude with it. It's so rude.
Well, mate, I had a similar scenario. I'm warming to this question.
Gary was walking down Victoria Street
I don't know.
and he shouted out, "Go to Bunnies!" and he quite fucking blanked him.
I was at London Colony petrol station, the Sainsbury's supermarket petrol station, like Sainsbury's by the way. And Andy Warrior's been with me. I'm a big New Zealand Warriors fan. I have New Zealand Warriors shorts on. And this bloke young fella bumping petrol into his car.
There was a bloke pumping a young
He
fella.
was pumping a young fella.
Fucking
He had a Bulldogs top on.
Ah.
And I goes, all right, mate. And he goes, it wasn't Aussie. He goes, all right, mate. He said, no, because often we see like, two guys with NRL-based stuff on here. But actually, something else comes to mind. Talent. We played an overseas
We
tour
did.
in
We played in Ireland. Yeah,
Ireland.
absolutely.
Ireland.
Sutherland.
That was a very interesting tour, wasn't
That
it?
was a good tour.
A
Talent.
very interesting tour.
Do you remember driving down that road, that long road, thinking we're our GB number back in the day? This is not when things are calm now. This
No,
is like
this was a little bit
we're running a little bit of a risk
When
here.
was that, like 98?
Mid-90s, mate. Oh,
98?
no, earlier than that.
No, it couldn't
No, it can't have been. We only said
It was the year after the
96.
Blackpool tour.
That was 97, yeah, 98.
Oh,
98.
Yeah.
Blimey, I thought it was earlier.
I think it was.
Anyway, good question.
Well, there you
Good
go.
question.
So that's
That's a really good question, mate. Really good question.
Thank you, Gary.
Stop touching me inappropriately.
In appropriate fashion. Wait till I touch you in an appropriate fashion. You'll know about it. It'll bring tears to your eyes. I want to go back to you, Gary, on tackle 4.
Right, what is the tackle for?
And I want you to expand on your offering
Oh.
of harking back.
Harking back. Okay, so
When I were a lad.
rugby league fans. Do you not find that rugby league
Punch out
fans?
that way, you big pervert.
Mate, this is weird. It's like
Thrusting
driving.
your arm is
It's
like
like I'm driving a car.
It's like a game
Rugby league fans
driving me fucking mad.
are generally fucking
Idiots.
reflecting on the good old days. And I was reading some of the feedback, because we'll come to it another day, but the IMG report, etc. And then like the attendance at the grand final. And you know.
Was it Catalan's fault?
Well, it probably was, but 60,000 for a match is, I think, is a pretty decent shout.
I agree.
Or whatever. And all you read is this fucking just
Drivel.
it's illiterate rubbish. And in fact, I just got to get off those Facebook forums now, because it's just, and we should reclassify ourselves as a working man's sport. What does that mean? We should go back to 4 tackles. We should go back to the winter.
Fuck me, they're people older than us.
Well, that's what I'm saying to you. Like, do you remember the Stones bit of championship with the second division with about 30 clubs in it? And, and they just pine for those days, and that's what's holding rugby league back.
It is what's holding rugby league back.
Holding it back.
You're 100% right.
Because they think they're at a war with everybody. The rugby league fans out up there think that they're at war with it. Everybody's against them, and actually, until you get out of that mindset,
A lot of chips on the shoulder.
Chips. It's
You understand, right? You should follow rugby league because you like the sport, you like the athleticism and the competition and the drama and the excitement. You shouldn't be watching it because of some sort of identity politicking.
So you're saying that you want to differentiate between reminiscing and just
Nothing wrong with
down-
reminiscing.
down-
Reminiscing's good. Do you know
Just-
what?
Yeah.
I reminisce about going down Knowsley Road and seeing some great players. And in fact, great thing about YouTube now is you can, if you're bored one night, you just saw Saints or Wigan or whatever, and there's some like old classics, and you could strike for the ball in those days. And only the rule, like the 5 yard, it wasn't 10 metres, it was like 5 metres. And you think, as the game, and it has. The game is far better now. Everything is better about it,
But the game evolves. There'll be young lads today looking back in 30 years' time at today's offerings and thinking, "Oh, that was great compared to what it's like now in the 2050s or whatever." That's a necessary evolutionary function, right? That will happen.
Yes,
That's
But
not
that's not a bad thing.
But don't you think the roots of league come from very much the working man, if you like? That's where it came from.
100%.
But surely we've moved on from
But
that.
we can't survive like that because the communities which gave birth to rugby league, working class, mining and manufacturing urban centres, have been devastated because those mines and those manufacturing industries don't exist anymore.
Precisely.
Not the same ones.
And our sporting landscape is not the same. There are just as many people now who go cycling on a Saturday as they'll go to a rugby league game.
Totally.
We don't go down
Fishing
to the pub,
even.
have 5 pints and then go watch a game and
No.
then have a pie,
No.
whatever. There are people sitting at home on an Xbox or climbing walls at the leisure centre or whatever.
Yeah.
There's lots of options in our leisure industry out there, and we need to be one of them.
Yeah.
We can't be this pigeonholed sport which we will only allow people into it if they pass the Northern Flat Cap test.
It's
we need to be
ridiculous.
wider than that. We need to be fishing in a deeper pool.
And that's not, because there's a lot of criticism, unwarranted, I think, about maybe the current ticket sales for the World Cup and things like that. And he said,
It
"Oh,
seems to
we
be
can't,
going really well.
well, I think it's doing well. We can't
I think
afford
that's
it.
done pretty well.
We can't afford it. We this and that and the other.
We'll buy the tickets fucking 12
Well, there's multiple things. Yeah, I mean, buy the tickets earlier, but if it's not, it's a World Cup. It's not fucking like
Let's
making
count
out.
it,
This is the value of it. This is the value of it. This is what you pay for these events.
Is our game worth it?
Well, that's the question.
And I think
Therein lies the question.
Christ, it's worth it. You're paying for tickets. You're giving them away nearly.
Really
good value.
I've got loads of tickets now. I bought a lot when they initially came out, and it was 2021. You could buy them like for £20 and five.
I look back when I bought my tickets in December 2020.
Precisely. I bought them.
2 years.
Did you take the digital or not?
Yeah, digital.
Yeah. And I wondered why, man. I want them now. I want these
I've had
tickets.
to log in and look.
No, it's tomorrow. It's tomorrow.
No, all I'll do is I've logged in. I know how many tickets I've got for this because I'll say to Ken, "Did I buy you tickets?"
Yeah.
No, I've got no idea who I bought them for now.
But
That long ago.
if we get back on the tack and we say to these people who are holding the game back, which we all sort of think that they are, we should ask them, what sort of sponsor do you think will want to be involved? Invariably, people say we need to put more money into growing the game and nurturing junior development, things like that. Yep, 100%. Where's that money come from? By and large, sponsorship and TV revenue, right? Broadcast deals. Who wants to put that sort of money into rugby league, where we can therefore invest into junior game, into junior development, and perhaps spread the word and perhaps fund our clubs a bit better? Who wants to sponsor us, or who wants to put money into us from a TV broadcast point of view, if we're only appealing to a very narrow
That'll be an interesting
sector of our population?
Interesting discussion from the day will be what will be the outcomes of the IMG report.
Well, that's another
for another day.
for another time.
Perhaps
That's
to
gonna be a
move on.
And I think tackle 4, mate, we've just been completed on the 40-yard line, 40-metre line, and we only got 2 tackles left before we need to put an up and under it. So I want to go, if I may, for the 5th tackle, Mr. Stephen. And appropriately, do you think I'm sexy?
Yeah, see, I like to bring it down a peg or two.
We know
you're all very,
You're a simple man,
all very
Steve.
serious.
Very well,
You're all
man.
very sort of straight-laced, serious. Oh, he's
I can answer your question. No, I don't think you're sexy.
Your points, no, not me personally.
Oh, I see. Well, I'm glad.
No. So I was thinking, just thinking back about, reminiscing about players and like, Christ, there were some ugly bastards, weren't they, playing? There was some
Gavin Miller.
There were some faces only mothers could love.
Oh Christ!
So I was thinking to myself, right, okay. You look at some of them now and they're all groomed and they're handsome blokes, proper dead set. They're all monolithic sort of. I'm not.
Well, Chisel, there you say.
Yeah.
If you say Adonis
Well-groomed.
I'm out of here.
Anyway, so I was thinking, who would you?
Who would you not do? Who would you do?
No,
Who would you
no,
fuck?
no.
Is that what you're saying?
These words cross your mind. You're wrong.
Where's this going?
Who would you engage with in a relationship?
My thought on this light-hearted,
He's developed into some kind of gay pride event.
my thought on this light-hearted topic, I may continue. You two have got minds like sewers.
We need to get to this. Clarity is required.
I think you're going to climax pretty quickly if you don't mind me.
He's a good-looking bloke, and he's an ugly fucker who has had his face
Are you looking at me and Gary when you say that in that order?
Oh,
So I had a few names here.
have you been studying pictures of half naked men?
No.
He's got pictures of a naked Andrew Hittinghausen here.
On the names of ugly, and I looked at one in particular. I thought, Christ, this is black and white
For quite a long time by the sound of it.
Black and white football, but Brian Bevan, ex-Warrington, he was
He of the 6-strand comb over.
Yeah, he was some. Yeah.
Ugly.
Yes, basically.
ugly
Another one.
I think it was an athlete, mate. He didn't look like an
He
athlete,
was
did he?
scrawny.
Yeah.
He was like wiry face. How did he
Yeah.
ever like a top try scorer ever?
I think he had a lot of toe on him. He had more toe than Roman Sandal.
And then a more up to date one. I'm looking at, thinking, pieces of him like Luke Thompson. He looks like an Amish character. You know the American Amish character?
That's alright.
He has that horrible, stupid beard. I look at him, I think, no, man.
I see what you mean. I
He's
see what you
not.
mean.
Alright, who do you fancy?
I've got a couple of ugly ones I've got for you.
Right.
I'll bring in an Australian one. I've got Josh Maguire, He's like Neolithic. He's like a cave.
Oh, Jeff Smith. We played Wellington this year. He went to Wellington, hasn't he?
He is.
He is. I'll give you that.
Shane Wedke had a kind of slightly chiselled look, but quite an ugly look. But you can't go past Gavin Miller for ugly looks.
Yeah, possibly. But you can have your own thought. And then on the sort of
Good-looking guys.
Who gets you a rap stick?
No one gets. Even you.
Fucking hell, now I'm wounded. I'm
Here's
fucking
a
hurt.
couple, here's three, and they're all further forwards. They're all, not your sort of wingers, centres who just in this sort of, good looking, but a bit like.
Slightly worried
I've
about
got Andy
rubbing hands here.
Goodwin. Andy Goodwin was all. I remember seeing him.
Go back in the day, when you went in modern times, modern days.
I've got three.
Well then, just name names.
Modern. So Andy Goodwin was all. I used to see him
Well,
coming.
he
He
played
played
at
at all
Wigan.
of them. But he played at Wigan as well. In top
I know.
Yeah, he did.
And
Who's forward?
he was had arms like Kintry. He was a big lad. Anyway. And I've got Sonny Bill Williams. He's like
Good looking fella, quite
and,
well
and
coiffed with his
lastly, I
hair.
remember seeing Ellery Hanley at the HAC, and the bloke looks like he's about
Was he in the toilet at the time?
30.
or-
He does look
He
very
does
young.
not look like he has aged. He's just
Botox, mate.
if
I
I
was-
was,
I was a vampire.
that good looking as he is, I'd be very happy.
I wouldn't say he's good looking, but he's very youthful.
He's got something about him because his wife.
I thought you were going to go for something like Andrew Eddinghausen or Mark McGaw, the famous centre pairing for Cronulla in the 80s. They were a fine looking pair. Good footballers.
The one in the NRL at the moment, I think he's won the vote anyway. But I just look at him every time. I think, what a cool guy is Nico Hines. He is such a cool guy.
Oh yeah, he got player.
You got but he also I
He's
think
got-
he also got voted for that. Well, no, he's got like
Yeah, long curly.
Is this not a man crush?
no, he's a mega cool guy. He's mega cool.
This is our offering for Gay Pride Week, clearly.
Just
As if that letter wasn't bad enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Gonna
Are you
do-
not offering up anybody or what?
He's
Good
got Gavin Miller. Thinks he's.
I've given Gavin Miller and I've got Andrew Eddinghausen.
Oh, yeah, forgive me.
Mark McGaw. I think Ian Roberts and Mark Graham going back to the
Ian
80s.
Roberts was not a very good looking chap.
I think it's fairly chiselled, I think you'd say, wouldn't you?
I think you probably well liked him, didn't you?
He were.
Given that you inaugurated this topic, I feel sure that he might have been one of yours.
One of my what?
Stop it. Did you see? Yeah, apologies for going down this route. Who's on
He's not that sorry.
Question of Sports?
Yes.
James Chant.
Referee.
James
Yeah.
Chant. He's on Question of Sports now.
He's not a hunk though, is it?
No.
Which I think is what Steve's point was. But oh my God, we're being sacked, and we're going to put a bomb up. We're on to the 5th of last.
Oh, here we go.
We're pressing for a
Come
try.
on,
5th and last.
Yes.
Which one was just kicking the ball? It's got to be me.
Got it, we'll give it to you.
Yeah, Grubber.
You play it, I'll pass it, you kick it. How's
Who am I
that?
kicking it to though? Myself.
People know where we go. You know.
5th and last. Let's expand it. I don't want to hear what you guys think about this on underthebarchat@gmail.com. With the inclusion of Redcliffe Dolphins in the NRL next year as the 17th licence, is expansion back on the table?
No.
Okay, thanks for coming. We'll see you next week. Cheers. Steve, what do you think and why?
Expansion in.
Well, I deliberately left it ambiguous, mate, because expansion could be Super League, it could be
I
England,
don't
it could
think
be
there's enough. I don't
Championship,
think there's enough teams in Super League personally.
it could be NRL. I mean, I might
17
on
in
the
NRL is quite a lot, isn't it? So you're looking at 32, maximum.
That's where I was going to take it.
Yeah.
I was going to take it on the NRL, but I deliberately left it ambiguous because we will have a London angle here, and IMG have released their thing, but I think we've all agreed we want to talk about that perhaps at another
So
time.
you talk about is expansion on the cards? Are they expanding? They're expanding in the areas where they've got stability. Obviously, Brisbane, which is Redcliffe.
I think you need to expand, not where you've got stability. I think you need to expand where you've got market.
Yeah,
And that's what I think IMG have talked about, and that's not what we've done. We've tried to do before, but that's what will get TV revenue in, and we have to market like the North Americans do. And Redcliffe does go toward that because it's a big growing area. It taps right into the Sunshine Coast, which is just up the road. Big growth area, and it's not far from Brisbane. You know, and you could have clubs in Brisbane feed into that very, very readily. So I think it's a good move on their behalf. But it's 17 teams. So what I wanted to talk about, what my offering would be, is what I see in the NRL is another 3 teams in the fullness of time, making a 20-team league, playing in 2 conferences, home and away, and then going into a repertoire, not dissimilar to what the NFL does.
Can I just give you 2 words?
Fuck off.
Player pool.
Yes, but I think the idea is certainly the NRL, and I think Super League would follow. If you develop where the marketplaces are and where the population centres are, you have a better ability to demand a better package, better compensation package from any broadcast partner. So you have a more desirable product.
Yeah.
So go to where the population is, not where necessarily the rugby league supporter base
Does that
is.
necessarily though give you a bigger player pool?
It doesn't give you necessarily a bigger player pool.
Because you've got to rely on that. If you haven't got
But
good
you
quality,
touched on it
Quality
before.
player
if you haven't
pool.
got good quality players, you ain't got a good product.
You touched on it before. The tide has turned, and we've seen things like the IPL, the 2020, the Big Bash. You don't. Gone are the days of a club or a team or a franchise picking local players or local juniors. They could come from anywhere. They don't need to come from that town or even that country. They can come from anywhere. Now, as you mentioned earlier, has the tide turned? The Pacific is turning and churning out players of really good quality, and I think they would. And I think with a really good product, which demands a really good compensation package from a TV
I dispute
provider,
that, mate.
you'd get players coming from
Did you
Union.
think-
I
You'd
just,
get
I
players
just
from all over the world.
I think just because Samoa have got a quality international side doesn't mean there are a huge amount of Samoans playing rugby league of that quality, if that makes sense. They have got
all through junior teams in Australia, mate. There's Pacific
yeah,
Islands
but
everywhere.
but that's my point. You need to have a team. You need to have a league, a proper league in Samoa. I believe there's a team representing Samoa or maybe Pacifica in the New South Wales Cup. Certainly the Papua New Guinea
Fiji.
Hunters play in the Queensland Cup, don't they? So I think there is that.
Fiji
Yeah.
in the New South Wales Cup.
Oh, okay.
But actually, this is where I wanted to go with my comment about expansion. And I've mentioned in the past where I would like to see perhaps two divisions of 10 teams, so 20 NRL teams. And I would think, well, we talked before, where would you go? Perth, Adelaide,
Wellington.
maybe Wellington, maybe another 1 or 2 New Zealand teams. I think they could support that there.
Can they?
Central Coast, where?
Go on.
Maybe a couple of teams in the Pacific. So maybe Samoa and Tonga. Maybe you could have 2 teams of
I think
2
so.
conferences of 12.
St Kitts and Nevis should be involved, to be fair.
Do you think so?
I think so. I'd definitely advocate that.
What could go wrong?
Well, Madagascar possibly.
Wow, yeah. But
Team of Lemurs.
Yeah. So
Sorry,
I face, and now I'm
I'm a believer.
I'm a believer. But I think there are players out there. I think if we turn this around a little bit, if America was to adopt this as a model, which the US NRL, whatever it was, we're talking about it a little while ago. I think that sort of died a death with COVID, right? But if they were to get that franchise model, which I think the Americans do really well, they would find there are all sorts of athletes in that country that could adapt to rugby league very readily if the finance was there and if the impetus was there, and more importantly, the structure was there for them to join. Because that rugby league showcases natural athletes very, very readily. So I don't think you have to be a rugby league junior to adapt to the game.
No, true.
So that was my tuppence. So maybe we could expand on that at some other.
It's an interesting point. Maybe we could come back on this in 10 years and see whether there has been any
Not
expansion.
light-hearted enough for that.
Yeah, we probably won't. Probably won't. I mean, we're rugby league supporters. I think we're realists, mate. We're in the fucking time warp. I've had the same conversations over and over
Let's do
again.
the time warp again.
Let's do the time warp again. Is it time to move on to the quiz? Do you think?
The quiz.
The quiz.
Who won the quiz last week, by the way?
I did.
Oh, yeah, 3-2, weren't it?
Oh, yeah.
It was a nail-biter.
Well, I'm definitely not going to win this week because I'm the arbiter.
Whoa.
I'm the quiz meister.
I won last week, by the way.
I've got.
I'm top of the league at the moment.
did.
Unbeaten.
You did. I've got a quiz.
Can I just have a little look at you?
No, you may not.
Oh.
If you can move that way a little and you can move that way a little, then I
You're trying to get us off the screen just so you
Just
can
trying to-
hold.
Shall I buzz or beep?
I'd like, Steve, you to go beep beep,
I've got
and Gary, I'd like you to go toot toot.
Toot, toot.
Toot fucking
Yeah, no,
toot.
I've got somewhere. I've got a buzzer somewhere.
It's alright, it's alright.
Is that the noise you make when you see like a rugby league, good-looking rugby league player with his shirt off
See if I
in
can-
black and white? Toot fucking toot.
Toot, toot. Come on, get some questions asked. Let's go.
Right.
Don't do that, 'cause I don't want to see them.
This is. I'm trying to get in a comfortable position.
Yeah, but I don't want to see the answers, because I don't want to hear any allegations.
I've been proprietary.
Proprietary of the
All right,
process.
very good. So,
Buzzer.
right now, this is the Oktobercast special.
October.
So we're moving on.
Festcast.
We're moving on from rugby league, and we're moving on to more important matters. Yes, there are more important matters than rugby league, and that's beer.
Okay.
So moving on. Question 1. Where does Pilsner come from? You get a point for the country and a point for the town. Yes, Stephen.
I'll go for the Czech Republic, and I'll go for Prague.
You get 1 point out of 2. It's actually from a town called Pilsen, and it's from the
Hold
Czech
on, do I
Republic.
not get a chance to come in?
No, he's just fucking come all over you, mate.
What can I say?
He's Buzz beat
I
you.
was all over it.
He's come. He's
Coming in your face soon. As I
This evening is
Charlie FMs.
I don't want to be with you two blokes. It's just
What
too much.
does IPA stand for?
Engine.
Gary, no, Steve
said,
Blaker.
Indian Pale Ale.
India Pale Ale, that's correct. 2-1. 2-0,
You're
dare
not
I
buzzing
say.
in quick enough.
And actually, the story goes, it was it's very good. It was India Pale Ale was brewed by English brewers to strong enough so it could survive the trip to India to serve British forces over there, but it was never ever actually exported to India. So there you go.
So this, if he
Sorry,
Steve takes this one, he's done it. He's won.
No, I've got 10 questions, mate.
10.
100 questions. mate.
God.
I thought we agreed it was 6 questions with the
Which
goals.
country is the biggest consumer of beer per person? Is it A, Austria, B, Czech Republic, C, Germany, D, Romania?
Toot.
Yes?
Romania.
No, you're wrong. It's Czech. I'll give you a bonus point for either of you if you can guess what the litrage is within 10 litres per person.
Was it per year, did you say?
Per person, per year.
976.
What's yours, Stephen?
I think it's 500.
No, you're both a long way away. It's only 143 litres per person.
Right.
I guess you've got to allow for like children and people who don't drink and other weird people like that.
I didn't really give it much thought to be truthful.
No, there you go. Which civilization is said to have been the first to make beer?
Toot.
You haven't had the options yet. Okay. Is it A, Babylonians, B, Saxons, C, the Klaxons, D, the Sumerians?
The Claxons are a group, a popular music group, aren't they?
Yes.
I'll go Saxons.
You're wrong.
Oh,
I'll throw that over to you,
right.
Gary, from Team Gary.
I've got the
Basically,
Toot, the Claxons.
You fucking twat. It's actually the Sumerians, and they think
I don't know our history every time
they found a tablet, mate. So they're from southern Mesopotamia, which is now modern day Iraq.
Alright.
And they found a beer recipe on a clay tablet.
Things you learn with this podcast with
Sorry,
Carries.
pardon me for talking while interrupting. But they found a clay tablet dated 3900 BC.
What, mate?
So there you go.
Yeah,
So
right.
what are we looking at? 2-0?
2-0, still 2-0.
So
What
I'll
city is
play
the
for-
world's...
Steve could just get the wrong answer every time, now I'm still winning.
Four options here. What city is the world's biggest beer festival held in? Is it A, Slough, B, Munich, C, Prague, D, Amsterdam?
Toot.
2-2 to Munich.
Amsterdam.
No.
Like, hold on, you can't just drop it out.
I'm not. I'm looking at it as I give it to you. It's Munich.
It's got to be, hasn't it?
It is Munich.
Well, I thought it was a trick question to be fair, but anyway.
That's why I
He
didn't really...
laboured on Amsterdam. That's
You
why
I did.
Suckered you in.
So you were sucking in right
No, I was sucking in.
So, question 6. According to the 1516 German purity law, beer can only contain 3 ingredients, not including yeast, which is not considered an ingredient. A point for each ingredient. Yes,
Water,
carry on.
hops,
Carry on.
barley.
Correct. All 3.
Brilliant. Steve, 5-0. I don't think I can come back from this one. I think
55 points to fucking minus 10 here. Guinness comes from Ireland, but which sovereign state consumes more than the Irish?
Nigeria.
No, I'll throw it to you,
I
Gary.
thought it was. Nigeria.
Sovereign state, what does that mean?
Well, that's a really interesting choice of word, don't you think?
Head of state like Queens.
No, which state? Not necessarily country, you might think. I thought Nigeria
I thought
was
they actually got a brewery in.
They do.
They do.
Lagos, I think.
State.
Which sort of country might not be a country purely according to definition? I don't think you need to look too far.
Saudi Arabia.
No, it's the UK.
Oh, okay.
Is it?
The UK, of course, is not a country, famously, right? That's their point.
True.
Oh.
So, question 8. What is the oldest beer brewery in the world continuously operating? I'll give you a point for the year within 50 years and the name of the brewery.
1650. Brewdog.
Fucking dog. At 10 to 5. I'll throw it to you. Team Stephen.
Longest operator. It's something I would say Fuller's.
Okay.
1821.
Well, actually, you're all way off. It's the Weihenstephan Brewery in Bavaria in 1040.
Wow.
So nearly 1,000 years old.
Vine and Stefan.
Continuously operating. I'm not sure you pronounce it.
I'm going to extinct on some Vine and Pepper tonight, you know, is that the
Indeed.
idea? And some bratwurst.
Get some of that in.
This is something that you probably could get. What is the name of the beer company, or what is the name of the beer commonly consumed in The Simpsons? Yes?
Duff.
Yes! Oh, that's so good!
Don't
You're
answer.
good. That's good.
You're a good man, mate. Well, Steve, well done, mate.
That's my
Last question.
Oh, he's won.
Yeah, no, but this is
Well,
our
it's a bit of a-
viewer and listener will be interested in this.
You won't be. I'm
How much alcohol does the world's strongest beer, which is actually called snake venom, have in it?
2-2, 10.7.
10.7? What do you have?
I'll say 21.
It's actually, the beer is called snake venom, and it has, believe it or not, 65%.
That's a spirit, isn't it? Yeah.
Wow, it's brewed, so it's a beer. And this week I declare Steve the winner. 43,000 points to -10. Well done, bravo, Ray.
I'd like to say that was a great quiz, Ken, but I can't really.
I think it was a great quiz, which is really poor performance.
We
from
need
you.
to get back to the basics. It's six questions.
Oh, yeah,
And if we draw, it's a gold point extra time. That's it.
I just really enjoy
I do like the 6 questions and
the nature of it.
Anyway,
Okay, well, I think we could probably draw things to a conclusion.
conclusion.
I think we've got the final whistle,
We have.
and we're off to get changed out of their rugby league jerseys.
No, Arsenal City.
Our soccer ball kick and giggle one.
dressed for the occasion.
You can stay as you are, Steve, if you don't
I'm
mind.
looking forward to drinking with you boys. So that's gonna be good fun.
If things don't change, they'll stay as they are. How's this?
Cheers, lads, and can I also say thank you very much to our viewer and our listener for joining
Good
us.
Cheers, guys.
And bonjour.
See you soon.
Ciao, ciao.
Auf Wiedersehen.